Evening, everybody. It's back on a Tuesday. Back to basics. It's the Smuggo and G All Arsenal review show. We've got a lot to go through in terms of the women's game first this week. We'll shuffle it round. We've got a few pictures and some close-ups from the Washington game out in America as well, from one of our regular viewers. So that'll be amazing. We'll get into that soon, and then we'll go into the men's game. Show you some memories that we made this weekend, some crazy pictures, and then we'll go into some transfers towards the end with Liam, who'll take over that side of things. So first of all, of course, Liam, no introduction for you, mate. Co-host, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks. I was pretty much comatose all day Sunday. For my struggles, I got dragged around Lakeside as well around 1 o'clock. I think that was a little bit of punishment for my 13-hour bender. And yeah, I've had a bit. I struggled yesterday, but I'm pretty much back to where I need to be this morning.
Bounce back right on the right occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Just the thought of coming on tonight just kind of give me that little extra bit of bounce.
That's it. Lovely stuff. Charlie, you finally joined us at the weekend. How was the experience for you?
Good evening. Yeah, it was great. Thank you. It was finally nice to meet everyone. The session was mad. I was rough as hell on Sunday, and I couldn't be bothered to go work on Monday. So, but yeah, it was amazing.
Nice. Ian, lovely to see you again. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good, thanks very much. Yeah, I was over at the game, but I did a day trip. I flew over that morning and back that night, so I didn't get to see you guys, but which I was raging about because I saw a few photos flying around. But I'm staying over for the Brighton game, so I'll make up for it then.
That's it. Yeah, shame we didn't see you, but there'll be plenty of other times, I'm sure. Bray, how are you? Nice to see you as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good to have. Thanks for having us on. Yeah, I weren't at the game. I've been holidaying with the family. I'm missing a load of sleep, camping for like about 14, 15 days. I'm back away again at the weekend. Yeah, loving it though. Loving back to football and the action from this week. I think it's been pretty decent, which we'll go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And a debut on the show with us. Mark, how are you?
I'm good, G. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be back into Premier League action and the Arsenal. So, yeah, excited. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries at all. Last but definitely not least, Jonesy, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. A bit like Liam and Charlie, rough as fuck on Sunday. Still a bit croaky now, to be honest. It's taking its toll on me. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I'm kind of full of a cold as well, so that's what I've got. I was all right Sunday, but travelling home, so I think it didn't kick in until I got home in the evening, to be fair. As always, evening to everyone in the comments. We've already got Catherine already, so nice to see you here. Bez, unfortunately, couldn't be on the panel tonight, but I'm sure he'll be back with us again soon. And we've got Nighty here as well. Missed the game because I was poorly. Don't know which one I would rather have had, though. I think it would have been hangover from the sesh with us, to be fair. But as always, keep any questions, comments flying through as we go through the show. We always love to hear and speak with you. So what we'll do first is we'll go into the women's section this week, purely because there's much less to talk about. As we did say last week, it's obviously the beginning of pre-season officially now, and the girls have headed out over to America to start a couple of games out there. The first on Sunday night was against Washington Spirit. Not gonna lie, most of us didn't watch the game. I think, as you could tell by our introductions, we weren't feeling the best, but we have seen some highlights, so we'll go through it. Obviously, Liam's brought up the team sheet there. First of all, Liam, I'll go to you first. A nice mixture of quite a lot of the starting 11, you would say, but with a couple of the younger girls in there as well.
Yeah, I think obviously going out into America, it's a bit like the men in it. Like obviously experienced some of the players, squad players as well. I know Cole got a call up, which I think was good, and I think obviously it was good to see kind of players like Reed, Leah, and Godfrey give an opportunity as well. But having the experience of players like your Williamsons, your Meads, your Littles in that team as well. So, and obviously going away into America, we knew it was never going to be an easy game out there. With the talent they've got, so it was a very good kind of first game warm up for us, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonesy, I'll come to you as well on that. Seeing Leah Williamson in there, of course, she's still obviously recovering as well as Beth Mead, of course, but to see her in it and straight there from the beginning, how good is that?
Yeah, no, it's brilliant to see her back and having a proper pre-season now this year. It was very hot out there. I know we'll probably get into the game, but yeah, and I find it quite weird. They did an interview with her at half time rather than letting her go and get a rest, which I thought was quite strange. But that's the Americans for you. But no, it was very hot, and it was great to see her back in there. You know, hopefully she gets the fitness and they're raring to go for that Rangers game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big couple of games coming up, isn't there?
Mm.
And Charlie, I'll come to you as well. We've chatted about it separately, haven't we? About like Alessia Russo and what she's brought into the club in her first season. But starting off pre-season as well with 2 goals. Is that a sort of sign of what's to come for the rest of the season as well? Now she's proper settled in.
Yeah, 100%. We need her firing definitely, and obviously, for her to be doing it in pre-season is obviously good for her and it's good for the team. And if she can bring that into the first couple of games of the season, obviously the Champions League qualifiers and then into the league, then we've got a good chance of competing. Just got to keep her fit, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Bray, I know you're sort of slowly coming into watching the women's team a bit more. I know you've been on holiday and stuff, so you haven't seen this game, but how impressed have you been with like Alessia Russo, for example, fitting in, basically one of the first names on the team sheet now going forward, but also, as I said with Charlie, getting her in the score sheet the first couple of games as well. How important do you think that is? Oh, are you there?
My apologies. Was that for me?
No, it's for Bray. Sorry.
Sorry, my apologies. I think Bray's after freezing there. Sorry.
I've just glitched. Sorry. What was that again, Jay? Sorry.
I was just saying that obviously you've said before that you're slowly watching more of the women's games and just getting your thoughts on Alessia Russo as well. Obviously kicking off pre-season with a couple of goals.
Yeah, the goal was pretty decent actually. I think it's quite nice, the first goal. I think overall, she's generally a decent player, a great addition to the club really, and being English, even better, isn't it? So hopefully, they can all bang in together and they can really push on and have a real good season because we missed them massively.
Yeah, exactly. As I'll just go back to, I know Mark and Ian, you're not too familiar with the women's team, so forgive me for skipping you on a couple of these questions. But Jonesy as well, I don't know if you've seen the goals, but certainly the second goal in the obviously the second half, Alessia Russo gets played in very nicely and slots it in. A nice striker's finish. But I think more importantly, the debut from Rosa, our new signing as well. She looked immense, and the ball she played through to her was a real sign of like excitement of what's to come when the season gets in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's what we kind of lacked last season, wasn't it? Those final third balls. And now Russo's got a season behind her and the experience. You can see how clinical she can be in front of goal. But yeah, Rosa was amazing. I was quite surprised. I knew she was a good player, but I didn't quite realise how much of an impact so quick she would have in that team and how well she gelled and clicked with the girls already.
Absolutely. One of those that we've lost an exciting player, as we talked about last week in Lacasse. But I think someone like her is just going to slot straight in and arguably might be better. Obviously, this is pre-season, so we don't know for sure yet, but there's still time. Liam, did you see anything of that second goal or anything that any other players that sort of impressed you?
No, I was dead to the world by that point. To be honest, I was actually having a little listening because I know George done his watch along, so I was more kind of watching it along and listening. If I'm being totally honest, then I was kind of watching it. But there was I know, like, obviously by what the girls and George were saying was that they were quite impressed. Obviously, with kind of a couple of the performances out there in terms of Rosa and Cole. So, and obviously Russo should get man of the match. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. A player of the match because obviously scored the 2 goals and all that. And I think this will be the year with Russo that I think we have a proper pre-season behind her now. Not being able to have a really good rest. I think hopefully we'll see the absolute very best out of her this season. And yeah, I think there was a big decision made, wasn't there, with obviously Viv, and I think once we brought Russo into the club, that was where we was going to go down in terms of like moving forwards. And I thought she was superb last year. I like not just doing the striker's role. She drifts out to the left quite a lot. She can put a really good ball in. And she's such a team player that I think hopefully this year with everyone back and everyone fit that we should hit the ground running. And we haven't had a horrible Champions League game thrown at us like a week or two after the a tournament's finished as such.
Halfway across the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And just finishing up on that side, Charlie, we obviously spoke last week about our second pre-season game out there is against Chelsea, a familiar team, but in a bit of a change at the moment with the obviously manager and a couple of players have left. But they had their pre-season game against basically the champions of the NWSL. And came out of it looking pretty good. So is there any concerns, do you reckon, going into that game, or we just got to play our way?
I think it's just a case of, with it being pre-season, I think it's just a case of we've got to try and play our way and play our system and try and get our players playing the best they can in the way we want to play. And then hopefully the result will take care of itself. Obviously, yeah, it's Chelsea and they've won the league 5 years in a row, but that cycle's got to come to an end at some point. So just go there, put in a performance. And obviously it's pre-season, so if we lose, it's not the end of the world. But as long as everyone's got good minutes in their legs, and then by the time the season starts, we're ready to go, then let's go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they posted up today, a couple of girls have also joined. They were listed on the squad list last week, but they weren't involved in that first game. So Emily Fox, obviously fresh off winning a gold medal at the Olympics. We all know she's my favourite at the moment, so excited to see her get back into it as well. But Jonesy, the Spanish girls have also returned as well. We finally have some pictures of Caldente with the girls. So what do you think of that? And are you excited to hopefully see her get some minutes against Chelsea at the weekend?
Yeah, no, definitely. And a player like her in this squad will only bring more class and more depth, won't it? And to see them, especially against Chelsea, them scumbags at the weekend, be it a pre-season friendly or in the league, you wanted to do a job in that part. But yeah, I'm excited by her, to be fair. You know, when the Euros were on, the World Cups, you saw her play for Spain and she was immense. So if she can be half that player, that, you know, what she does international-wise, then we've got a real gem on our hand. And in that midfield as well, perfect, absolutely perfect. I can't wait for the women's season to get going, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. See how things are going to gel together as well, what players are going to end up playing where. I think we've made some really good signings so far, so hopefully there's a couple more in the door before we get going. But just going back to the Washington game, obviously on Sunday evening, one of our loyal viewers was very lucky to have been there watching it. And she did manage to send us through, is it a couple of pictures and a video, Liam?
Yeah, so I've got the video first. I'm going to have to do it separately. So here's the video of Catherine out in America at the game. So you can tell there, can't you? Like a lot of people went to that game and a lot of interest in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice, as it is with the men, it's nice for the teams to get out and other fans. We know the American fans are pretty loyal out there as well, so it's nice for them to be able to see a very strong squad, as we said last week. Is there any pictures of when the stadium was more full in game time, or?
I'm going to take you through the pictures.
Yeah.
Tell me when you can see them. Let me know when you can see them.
Yeah.
So these are some of the pictures that obviously Catherine sent over.
Nice. They're pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, they're very good pictures, to be fair. Got a proper eye for a camera, Catherine.
She's just said that it was very hot out there. The Arsenal fans showed up more than the Washington Spirit, which is a bit strange with playing a team out there, isn't it? But
that's basically all the pictures. So thank you very much, Catherine, for obviously sending them over, and I hope you had a good evening.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, thank you for always being involved. We appreciate it. We love the comments that you put through. So thank you for that. But yeah, obviously we're playing Chelsea. I believe it's at 9 o'clock our time, and it is available via arsenal.com for free. And like the other game, turns out it was actually live on YouTube as well. So hopefully it's across a couple of different platforms, and we can all get involved and watch a little bit of it before the show next week as well. But yeah, I think, sir, should we go through some of our madness of pictures before the weekend?
Yep, let me just get the old screen up again. I'm going to be a bit. Make sure I get this right.
You got
Let me present my... Sorry, guys, a lot of pressure on me, yeah?
this. For the very first time, pretty much everyone in our gang was there, which was really lovely. Obviously, the sun was shining. First game of the season back. We're buzzing. Of course, the first picture has to be the co-host, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just loving the black and white shirt, and yeah, good picture. Like, I think when was this one? Was this one before or after the game? I think it must have been after the game. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's after the game. There's me, you, and Jonesy. That was definitely before the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's one of the old besties themselves.
It was we decided to
so what I do
the Tolly first, just as we were on our way through, just to grab. I was desperate for a beer at that point.
Absolutely, be rude not to. Let me just grab up the next lot of pictures. I believe you sent me a second lot, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah. Oh yeah. The team. Oh yeah, it's just the team. So I'll tell you what. I'll share this, and we can go straight into the team.
Yeah.
And then you can start, obviously, bringing in everyone else. There you go.
Brilliant. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll come to you first, Ian. Obviously, some of us that were on the panel last week sort of did a little predictions of what the teams may be, and I'm very proud to say that is what my team was. Was there any names in there that you weren't really expecting, or maybe were hoping to have, because of pre-season, have come out of the team and other players came in at all?
Yeah, I was very happy with the team. I have to say, it would have been very close to what I would have guessed as well. I was a little bit surprised that he picked Martinelli ahead of Trossard. I mean, I thought Trossard might have gotten the nod, but I think there might be a bit of thinking to try and get Martinelli, on the score sheet or an assist early doors, in a home to Wolves. It would have been a decent opportunity, but no, it was pretty much what I expected. I knew Zinchenko was going to start because Calafiori and Timber weren't fully fit. Even I thought Partey was going to play. I had a feeling Havertz was going to go up top. So yeah, I was very, very happy with the lineup, I have to say.
Brilliant. Mark, yeah, I'll come to you as well. Was there any players that you thought maybe deserved a chance, or was that sort of the team sheet you were thinking was going to be put out for that first game?
I thought that would be the team sheet. However, I think Martinelli will bang this season. I really do. And I think he's at a point where Havertz was this time last season, and it's a bit of lack of confidence. So Arteta just needs to work a little bit of magic on that, and as the podcast goes on, I'm sure we'll dive into that. So I thought possibly he might have taken Martinelli out, put Trossard in, but that I did expect that lineup. Apart from that,
yeah, you weren't surprised to see Zinchenko back there as well.
Absolutely not. Zinchenko has been absolutely fantastic in pre-season. And there is a player there. We know how good he can be, and we know how bad defensively he can be also in a top 6 game. So it's not that. So for me, Zinchenko deserved to be there. Calafiori's not ready. Timber's still come back from fitness. Tomiyasu's injured. Kieran Tierney is not even close to being in the lineup at all. So, yeah, for me, Zinchenko deserves to be there for these games, and I would certainly keep him in there for the bottom half of the table teams. I think he can bring a lot to Arsenal in that aspect. But when we go into the big games, nothing against Zinchenko for people in the chat come for me. Nothing against him whatsoever. But we do know that he can be a bit liability against the likes of Liverpool, Salah, especially Bayern Munich's Champions League game. So, no, I'm not surprised. It was a solid lineup.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Bray, just to throw something in there. Obviously we've talked about Martinelli possibly coming out for Trossard, but do you think Jesus maybe could have got a shout? Would we looking to see him, or sort of surprised he didn't really obviously start this time, seeing as he looks to be at much better and fitter form at the moment?
I think what you looked at, I think we had to try and get a proper presence up top as well. I think that's the thinking of why Havertz started, and I think Havertz has played himself into that first kind of choice kind of player at the minute. I just think from previous games, at the back end of last season, and again, I think he needs confidence more than anyone as well. So saw from the Euros, he's one of those. He's creating the chances, but again, it's not having that kind of that final bit of luck where he's literally just going and banging. He's almost hesitating all the time. So I think that's why. But I can see from pre-season why. Well, not why Jesus was not playing, because he had a good start. But as I say, we've got some big games coming up, and I think he's going to get a lot of game time. Certainly in these next 2-3 games. So yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Liam, I'll come to you on Partey, because I know that was quite a big discussion between us when we put our team sheets out last week as well. Obviously, his performance overall was, I would say, it's one of those, his first game of the season, isn't it? Someone's always going to have a little bit of an off go, but it wasn't horrific, I don't think. What did you think?
Well, if you listen to your man like Eduardo Hong, who believes that the team's totally left him behind, biggest fraudster, by the way, on Twitter, that guy, and I thought I had to mention that to call him out. But anyone who knows ball and knows Thomas Partey knows that he is a player that does start the season quite slowly, and to write him off after one game, I just think, firstly, totally disrespectful to the actual player. What he kind of achieved in the last 6 games that he did play for Arsenal last year, but also I just think that if you know your football, you know how Thomas Partey progresses, and I think Thomas Partey away from home is absolutely vital to us, and will be a massive piece of the jigsaw this season when we do play away from home. Do I see him starting every game? No, I don't, because obviously I think we do still need to manage him quite correctly. We do need to realise that he has had enough time out, and if we get your boy Mikel Mourinho in, I think that would add a lot of versatile into that midfield, and it gives you the options to be able to play different players in different games. But Thomas Partey, rest assured, is a massive piece of the jigsaw still this year. And you'll see next week at Aston Villa a totally different performance in Thomas Partey. And all I'm saying is don't write him off just yet. I just think it's totally disrespectful to call out a player after one game, especially when we won the game and he didn't really make a high profile error. Yeah, he made a couple of minor errors, but nothing led to a goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonesy's sort of same question to you as well. Because I know you've got some mixed feelings on Thomas Partey over the seasons, haven't you? But like Liam said, there was nothing catastrophic, nothing that caused a goal or anything really bad happened. It was kind of an easy target, do you think he was in that team the other day?
Yeah, I do. I mean, me and Charlie had a lengthy discussion in the pub afterwards, and it wasn't until I watched it back, to be fair, that he wasn't that actual bad. There was 1 or 2 loose stray passes. Same with Zinchenko as well, to be fair. I just think we've come to expect more, but it's the first game of the season. People are rusty. Saturday, I think, more than anything, was just about getting over the line, getting those first 3 points of the season. And form comes with playing more regularly, doesn't it? So the more these guys will play, their form will pick up. But I agree with Liam up there. You've got to give Partey time away from home, and Villa Park, I'm definitely agree he will shine.
Absolutely. Just talking about, obviously, it was the first game of the season, first time a lot of us have been back in the stadium for a while. Ian, I'll come to you on it just to sort of get your thoughts on what the atmosphere was like in the build up for yourself. I don't know if you went to any other places before, or did you go straight to the stadium?
Yeah, we went to the Little Wonder Cafe as we always do when we get there, just for a good feed. It's our breakfast and lunch all in one. But yeah, we got there and the atmosphere was brilliant. There was a lot of positivity around the place, obviously after how good a season it was last season, and that continued into the stadium. I'm sure we'll speak a little bit about Kevin Campbell as well and the tribute paid to him. And but it was really nice to be back. It's just such a special place to all of us, and it was the atmosphere has continued on from last season to this season, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as you touch on it there, obviously before the game kicked off, as we would expect, the club gave a nice send off for Kevin Campbell up on the big screens. The players obviously were involved in that as well, and it was a chance for all the fans to be there. Obviously at home, somehow watching the game, but a lot of us in the stadium as well. Ian, how nice was it to have that moment and all be together in that?
Yeah, it was really, really special. Like one thing I would say is I wish they would have had it done. They put a video montage up on the big screen in the stadium, but they did it about 25 minutes, 20 minutes before kickoff, and there weren't that many people in their seats at that point. And they probably could have waited till half time to do that, but other than that, like aside from that, it was still brilliant, and there was a really special moment just at kickoff. And when they had the minutes applause or the period of applause, and the whole stadium just started singing, super, super Kev, super, super, and it was just the whole stadium sang it, and it was very, very emotional. And obviously, while that was going on, his picture was up on the big screen. So yeah, I was so happy to have been there for that. It was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liam, I'll come to you on that one as well. So I know we spoke about it on a couple of shows, haven't you? What were your thoughts on how Arsenal handled it and having that moment as fans to be able to sort of show the love and appreciation for Kevin as well?
Yeah, it was a lovely moment. Like just talking about it now, still sends a bit of a shiver down me. To be fair, but I totally agree with what Ian just said. I think that the best bit about it was that obviously once that 1 minute applause was started, like there weren't silence. We sung his name. I'm someone who grew up through the late 80s, early 90s. Not many strikers I know have come through the system and played the amount of games that he's played for Arsenal. He was a very special talent, Kevin Campbell, and he come out of that era, but come on to the era he is now, and he was such a special person. Like in terms of the way he handled himself, in terms of the way he communicated through social media, he touched others. Do you know what I mean? And I know it sounds bad, but it's horrible when you see a good guy go like that. He didn't deserve to go like that, and I know he was watching down, and that was an absolute immense moment. It was unbelievable, really. Like it was unbelievable because I don't know what I expected. I knew it was going to be emotional. I knew it was going to be really hard. There was flags in the North Bank as well with Kevin Campbell's face on and all that kind of stuff, and that just tells you everything you need to know about the guy. But as you said, Ian, I just think once people started singing his name, I think that was the biggest tribute that you can give a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it is at our club, these players are never forgotten through time, are they? So I'm sure that we'll continue to sing his name at many other games going forward as well, and keep his name going amongst the club. Mark, I'll come to you as well, just for your thoughts going into playing against Wolves. Some of us on the show, like last week, were maybe a bit apprehensive, thinking it's the first game. Are we going to be up to speed? What were your thoughts before the game, and then how did it change when we started?
It's a hard one. Before the game, and I was optimistic, completely optimistic going into it. I think that we've got amazing first 11, 14 players. So Yeah, and I saw enough in pre-season to think that we get past Wales, and I think Wales will struggle this year. So I think I was a bit shocked going into when the game actually happened that Wales actually put up as much a fight as they actually did. Beforehand, I thought it would be a very comfortable 4-0 win, if I'm being honest. However, going into the actual game itself, and I know this is going to be unfashionable within the Arsenal fan base, but I thought Thomas Partey was outstanding. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He did make a couple of mistakes, but so did Saliba. Saliba made horrendous mistakes, and this will not be called out. And I'm not calling Saliba out. He's an amazing player. But the fan base, certain aspects of our fan base like to go for certain players. But Thomas Partey was, for me, he was absolutely great. David Raya, he deserves a massive shout out. That save that he done was like, honestly, he was going the opposite way, and he to come back, and it wasn't just one. He made a couple. So the whole, there was parts of our team I felt were still rusty, and you can see that, and that's acceptable. I mean, these guys have barely had a break, and they've been at the Euros or Cup of America, and they've had maybe 1 or 2 weeks off, and then had to come straight back in. So yeah, for me, it was kind of a mixed bag. I expected to be running a bit more. I thought they would have gelled a bit more, but it's the first game of the season, and I'm not going to take anything away. Highlight for me, Havertz instantly, obviously for the assist in the goal, and our boy Saka again assist in the goal, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, overall, it's just, I'm pleased. We came out, it was unscathed. We've got a clean sheet. We've won 2-0, and it's 3 points on the board. It's game week 1, so it's all good. And our players will come. They'll come good. My only worry is, and we'll touch on that obviously when we go to the transfer market, is the opening that we have to the season. And that is my concern. It's like these first 5 games are like the worst 5 games that I can remember in Arsenal's history. If I'm being honest, it's just brutal. So maybe I'm just looking for too much to say, guys, we need to win these games. So just be up to speed and do what you were doing at the back end of last season. But yeah, overall, I'm delighted. And some players that we've written off, like Thomas Partey, I've done it. But if Arteta can manage these players, like Liam touched on earlier, if we can manage these players, I think we could do good. So yeah, just on the game itself, it was fantastic. And just going back to the Kevin Campbell tribute, which is very, it means a lot to me. I'm older. I'm same as Liam, and I'm older. But my tribute to Kevin Campbell would be that I never met him. Although I think I know him, because he was that guy. He just gave so much to everyone. If it was tweets every single morning during winter when I was getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go and do a horrible job, and he's putting up there. And the family actually requested that it was not a minute's silence. It was actually a minute's applause, and people sang his name. And then you guys in the stadium, you've done an amazing job. It really came over brilliantly, and it was an amazing tribute. So, yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's fine. Bray, I'll come to you just on leading into Wolves. We sort of said that obviously we haven't had, like Mark said as well there, we haven't really had much of a pre-season to sort of gel. Obviously signings have been here and there so far, haven't they? So do you think that sort of played a factor in maybe not looking as sharp, some of them the other day? I know obviously some of them weren't even at a competition this summer, but still I think not being around each other, not having that breakaway as such as they did. Obviously they did go to America, but it was a lot quicker than what it would have been like last year, for example, when they had that time and a good bit of time off as well. So do you think that sort of played into, like we said, it wasn't a bad performance, but some people looked a bit like leggy, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's just a standard pre-season. I don't look at any of those teams and you suddenly pull out and say they've just like shone. I think everyone's had like poor game. In all honesty, I think it's very patchy. I think everyone's at different stages of of their fitness and getting back to it. Obviously people being in the last stages of the Euros. Some obviously not being there. Ben White, but as I say, they are different levels. So it is going to be always hard. And yeah, I don't see a problem with the performance. We know we want it to be there's confidence, proper comfortable, but it's a win, 2-0, and you ride your luck. You have a couple of good moments with the goalkeeper making a couple of good saves. There's mistakes that happen on a football pitch everywhere. It's one of those. It's just how you recover and you go and do it. And obviously we got the second goal, but it was really good. The fifth, 6 games obviously coming. We said about the nightmare run. I'd rather us be kind of going at a gentle kind of up to raise the level up until those 2 big games, Tottenham away and Man City. So look, it can only get better. And as I say, as long as everyone stays fit, I think this could be a very good 6 games. Imagine I said on my preview, I said if we actually get through this period unbeaten, we're in a decent position. So well, that's it. Get 2 real kind of important away games done early on. We just got to keep it up then after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, 25th minute, Kai Havertz, typical type of goal for him, I think, at this stage. Sort of bringing in his form from the end of last season and the Euros as well. Straight back in, goal, first game back. Charlie, what did you make of that? Obviously, we were sat together, weren't we? And the assist as well. What a cross from Saka in before he nodded it in.
Yeah, it's pretty standard from Saka, that, and it just cut inside on the left foot and then just either a perfect delivery or just a perfect goal. But yeah, Havertz, I mean, I think the keeper, to be fair, as much as Havertz does well, I think the keeper has had a shocker because he's come into no man's land, nowhere near the ball, when he's just given Havertz an open goal. But at that time, 25 minutes into the game, we was on top, but we weren't really peppering their goal. I'll take it all day long. Shameless settings. So, yeah, he looked good, though, to be fair. I mean, again, considering his pre-season was a bit all over the place and he played a few games in midfield, I think he did really well.
Yeah, he had a good game back, didn't he? Jonesy, I'll come to you overall on Saka. Obviously, as I said, in a pretty good assist there, but also a token Saka goal in the second half as well. What did you make of that?
It was outstanding, wasn't it? Bit like Charlie, though, the goalie, again, getting beat at his near post shouldn't happen. But at the end of the day, Saka's still got to, cut inside and take the shot. But yeah, he's amazing. And when it was quite surprising to get him subbed off, normally he plays the whole 90 minutes with Arteta. So it's nice to see him have like a little mini lap of honour to himself, going around the outside of the pitch. And there's some pictures floating about. You got Carl and Sparks here have been snapped, seeing them. But yeah, no, he fully deserved that. And the boy is just getting better and better. And I think, what was it, Arteta? I know he quoted him to say he's like Messi, but, he's our Messi, to be fair. And he's brilliant.
Yeah, and just as well, back to you, Jonesy, he doesn't sometimes need the confidence behind him, but also to go in and have an assist and goal and get straight in there. Obviously, as playing every single game in the Euros, we know that he doesn't get much rest. But to just come straight back and firing is just putting him in such a good position for the rest of the season, isn't it?
It just is, it's a testament to the boy. I mean, after the Euros where he missed the penalty, he comes straight back in and delivered for us and scored that penalty against Liverpool. He's had another bad Euros final, at the end with England, and he's come straight back in again and scored a goal and an assist. The boy's mentality and mental strength is amazing for a kid as young as he is, to do what he's doing on a football pitch with grown men, like, because I still class him as a kid. He's like, when you see him, he's like our kid sort of thing. He's just, the boy is literally could have the world at his feet, and I just hope it's with Arsenal the whole time. But yeah, you run out of superlatives for him. Didn't you? He's just absolutely brilliant at the moment for us, and his form will just continue. He'll be a big part for us this season, massive part. But I still think we just need cover to help him on that right-hand side. But I'm sure we're going to transfers a bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect timing on that one, Liam, as well. I was just going to literally come to you and talk about William Saliba. Some absolutely mental stats came out after the game the other day, didn't it? So in 50 games, 30 clean sheets. Like, how instrumental that has been to change basically our back four, isn't it, from what we've been used to over a couple of years. Having him come in, settle, and bring off stats like that is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like, there's only one word for him, isn't he? Like, everyone uses the word Rolls Royce, and I don't think we've seen a defender of his calibre since like Rio Ferdinand come through the system. Probably back in the early 2000s. Like in terms of the confidence and the swagger that he plays as well at a very young age, I don't think I've seen that. And when he came to us, he was only 18 years old. And when you look at centre backs and how they develop in the Premier League and how hard it is to put a young centre back into a team, like, I think we just managed the whole situation, considering everything that was going on in the background with COVID, his family, and obviously his youth, absolutely superbly. And we kind of got him away as well from that environment when, do you know what, we weren't very good, if we're being frankly honest, and the team weren't right. And we seem to have hit the jackpot in terms of when we brought him back in, because when we brought him back in, we see an uplift in terms of the way we play, in terms of the structure of the team, but also in terms of the way he develops game on game. And yeah, I know he didn't have the best of games last weekend, but do you know what? He's only human. Everyone makes a couple of errors. But it's scary to think that he's not playing nowhere near that, I believe, to where he can get to. Like, you watched him in the Euros. For me, he was the best centre back in the whole Euros by a country mile. It was just a shame that for him that France were that bad, because his performance was levels above probably most of that French team. And my worry, and I've expressed it a few times now, is that Real Madrid are going to knock on the door for him. Let's not get deluded about it. Real Madrid are going to knock on the door here with the team they've got at the moment and the age they've got. I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if they don't come in for him next summer. So we're gonna have a tough job keeping him. But you know what? If we need to win, we basically need to win trophies now. That's the basically be all end all. We need to have a really successful season. We need to make him believe that staying at Arsenal is the right thing for his career. And I just fingers crossed that we keep him, because I think if you lose any other player in the team, yeah, you'll get a dip, but you won't get that much of a dip. When you lose William Saliba, you lose a title, and you see that two seasons ago. Once he got injured, we were screwed. Yeah, we're better off now. We've got players like Calafiori who's come in. Timber can play centre back, but again, let's not get it twisted. Losing Saliba for anyone, it will be kind of detrimental to us. So he does need to stay fit. We do need to kind of make sure that we kind of still kind of keep him fresh and keep him fit. Like, obviously things like League Cups and that kind of stuff I don't expect. But and probably the first few games in the FA Cup, if they're quite kind to us and quite generous to us. But in terms of the league and the Champions League, he has to be starting every game.
Yeah.
He has to start every game. He's just levels above everyone else. And that's not just at Arsenal. I believe, honestly, he's the best centre back in the Premier League, and I'll go that far to say he's in the top 2 at the moment in the world.
Yeah, and it's not even us just saying that, is it? It's like you said, Rio Ferdinand has openly said that multiple times, and he is not someone that wants to give any good feedback about Arsenal, does he? So the fact he's saying that, and he's just like, well, disregards everyone else and it's Saliba always, is just says a lot about it as well, doesn't it?
Well, I actually sat there for why am I even saying the top 2? I'm trying to think of centre backs I think are better in him, and I just don't. I can't think of a centre back that I look at the moment, and I think, yeah, you're better than William Saliba. Like you've got the
Harry,
potential.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Rudiger. I think he's the only argument. Rudiger. I think he's the only argument.
But even Rudiger, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, you're bang on. Like the level he's gone to since leaving Chelsea, he's gone up a level. But you look at him, you look at William Saliba when they were young. You just sit there and you think, can you imagine what William Saliba could potentially be like at 27, 28 years of age? Jesus, as long as he stays fit, mate, I think he's going to be one of the best centre backs we've seen for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan's just put a comment in to say 5 Arsenal players have made the PFA Team of the Year.
Well,
if you let us know who they are, that would be great.
I can actually show you it, G.
Brilliant.
Ian kindly had kind of sorted us out with this one, so just give me a sec and I'll get it up.
So I think Catherine earlier put that Foden, unfortunately, has won again. So that's a shame. But it's got to be Declan Rice, hasn't it? Anyone else want to throw a name in there who they think's in it? Odegaard, Rice, Saka?
Ever saved, yeah.
So David Raya, William Saliba, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Walker, Rodri, Rice, Odegaard, Haaland, Foden, Watkins.
Basically an Arsenal City team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an Arsenal fan right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Does that give us the edge yet? I think that gives us the edge.
An extra point, that'd be great.
I reckon so, mate. I reckon so.
It's interesting. We there's more Arsenal players in that team than Man City because we 5 in that team. Then there's Van Dijk and Watkins, so it's only 4 Man City players in that team. That's quite interesting. That's very telling, I think.
That one's voted by the rest of the players, isn't it? All right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's always nice to see, isn't it? But yeah, anyone got any further thoughts on the Wolves game at all before we look into Villa at the weekend?
Yeah, just I'd like to make a point. So we've got to 30 clean sheets in 50 appearances. And we're missing one key point there. There's one reason that's happened, and that's because of the person's like that is next to him. He maybe not be fashionable, but Gabriel is one of the best centre backs in the world by a country mile. It's not even close. So, well, Saliba's maybe easy on the eye, he's passing, and he's a fantastic defender. And honestly, I think he is world class by far. And I agree with Liam. I think Real Madrid will chap our door next season. And I think it'll be in excess of 150 million. I honestly do. But Gabriel, we should not be writing this guy off at all. He is the reason that Saliba's also as good as what he is. So it's just a point I want to make, and sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we spend 30 seconds talking about the BDSM that we witnessed from Mosquera choking one of our players and playing with another player's bum? What on earth was going on there? Can somebody explain this?
Wait till tomorrow night, Ian. Wait till tomorrow night. Wrestling's tomorrow, choke slamming and bum grabbing and all that's on the wrestling. But no,
yeah, and I've done this on Paul's podcast on Sunday night. I don't know if Paul's watched it back yet. He'll be banning me off it. It was very controversial, so I'm not touching it anymore.
You're not saying anymore. No, it was just very, very strange. I've never ever seen that on a football pitch.
Yeah.
All I would say is if I did that on the street tomorrow, I would be arrested and probably put in prison.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair point just to put out.
I just can't believe the choke slam incident. The more you look at it, and you suddenly think, well, how can VAR look at it, slow it down, and then suddenly think there's no actual intention to kind of do what he did? Because you could see the force the way Havertz's head went and hit the ground after he grabbed him. It wasn't like he was breaking his fall, and that's what they've kind of looked like. They've probably gone down the lineup, or there wasn't a lot.
They didn't even look at it.
Yeah, probably not that. They're probably having a cup of tea or something.
Yeah. It's probably the worst thing you can do, isn't it? It's probably the worst move you can do with your hands is grab someone around the neck or the throat.
I was going to say the way he grabbed them. Had they been standing upright, not only would have been sent off, I reckon he would have a long ban coming towards him. The way he grabbed him, like, it was awful.
Well,
Xhaka
being
would
that's
have,
not a red card, we should do that now to every other team, innit? Can get away with it, clearly.
Yeah.
Don't be silly,
Yes,
mate.
we
We'd have red
We
cards all
won't,
over
will
the
we?
place.
yeah, we'd have the benchmark, 9-game
Red card
bans.
SC,
That's it.
mate.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to comment on this because I went too far on Sunday night.
That's all right. I didn't. Well, I was gonna talk about
I'm not
the
watching
ref,
that.
but it ends up every week we end up talking about refs and poor decisions and stuff, wasn't it? But I think what got me the most, apart from all the free kicks that Wolves just kept getting for pretty much nothing, was how quickly he decided to give Saka a yellow card as well for pretty much absolutely nothing. But it just goes to show it's the same conversation every week. I think there's been issues across a couple of the other games as well, isn't it? And one, as someone, I think Ryan's commented, someone else got a red card for something similar, and then this goes completely unscathed whatsoever and just told to get up and get on with it. It's one of those things that I don't think is going to change with these referees this season. We're just going to continue to see more of it, and
I
people get away with it.
I think this is beyond that. I honestly think this is absolutely beyond that. If you sit back and you watch it, and I'm trying not to comment because I'm very passionate on it, Jesus got a yellow card and he was groped. It wasn't a smack on the bum. Like David Raya normally, like a good defender makes a clearance, he'll smack somebody on the bum to say thank you so much and well done, and on you go. This was a grope. How do we not know? And I'm nothing against people's sexual orientation at all, but how do we not know that this guy is not gay or bisexual? He groped Jesus. So for me, and he also physically choked a player. For me, it's just too much. It's far too much. And Jesus ends up with the yellow card. VAR is under pressure from day one, as far as I'm concerned. And as Charlie said, quite right. If that's the new rules, then yeah, we've got 6'4" defenders and players on our side. Let's start groping and strangling people if that's the way to win football games. It's the way ahead, guys. I love these new rules. Be an interesting season ahead.
And
Sorry.
More was made. Yeah,
That's
more
exactly
was
what I would
made
do,
out
innit?
of.
I would start strangling people, innit? It's clear you could get away with it. So let's have it. Let's do it.
Yeah, more was made out of Ben White touching a goalkeeper's glove last season than was made out of the two things Mosquera did at the weekend. The fact that Saka and Jesus got yellow cards in that game, but he didn't get even a yellow card is just it's incredible. It's I don't know how you explain that.
I said the same thing. I said the exact same thing. Shithousery is not allowed where you could try and unstrap a goalkeeper's glove, but however, we could go and grope a player or strangle somebody to almost fucking death. And it's sorry for swearing. I do. Honestly, I'm not speaking on it. I'm very passionate. I'm angry at it. I'm still angry. I think that
Let's move on.
I think they've really seriously let themselves down on day one, put themselves under severe pressure going into the rest of the season. So apologies, sorry to swear.
It's all right. But yeah, anyway, let's just go off that now and straight into obviously Saturdays. It's going to be a difficult fixture. Obviously, last year didn't go too well in our favour as well. I'll come to you first, Charlie. What are your thoughts going into Villa? Obviously, they picked up a win as well at their first game of the season. Made a couple of good signings as well, to be honest, haven't they? And looking like they're quite a strong team again.
Yeah, I don't know. When the fixture list came out, I looked at this game, second game of the season, their first home game, and I was like, yeah, I don't fancy going there for their first home game of the season, I have to admit. But obviously, when we was in the pub, they had the game on, and for large spells, West Ham were on top of them. I know they ended up winning in the end, but they're obviously still clearly vulnerable. Am I confident? I can't lie, I'm not, because obviously the first game of the season syndrome then leads it into the second game of the season syndrome. No one's hit any form yet. Obviously, players are still leggy. You've got players that need minutes. But we have a better squad than them, I think. and if both teams play as best as they can, then I think we'll get the win. It's just we need to cut out the foolishness. Like, I mean, there was a few foolishness on Saturday with people playing dead passes to no one, not even looking where they're passing it, and they're just playing it blindly to straight to other player. We can't be doing that against Villa because we'll get punished. But I think if we keep everything simple, then yeah, I think we'll be okay. But it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, Liam, I'll come to you as well. Just thinking, obviously, from 2 seasons ago, we managed to get it in the line, but at the very end of the game. Last year, we were not in it whatsoever at all. Is it something that's a concern going into this week? We've obviously focused on some of the games maybe in September that are looking like some tricky ones, but this has got to be up there as well, hasn't it?
I think when we played them last year, I don't believe there was much belief in the team at that point. I think we didn't really know where we was playing Havertz as well at that point, and we didn't really have the flexibility of centre midfielders. I'm pretty confident, to be honest, I know maybe I shouldn't be because we lost them twice last year, but I just look at the squad of players that we got now, and I just think that, do you know what? I think we do need this kind of game to start us off away from home, because then we'll know what we're gonna do in terms of the next 3-4 games. I'd be more concerned if we had pretty much a dead end game, because I just think that we need to kind of pick up the level now, because after Brighton you've got a North London derby and you've got Manchester City away. Do you know what I mean? It can't get any harder in them 2 away games. So do you know what? Aston Villa might be not a bad game to kind of kick us off. Yeah, Aston Villa are a fairly good team, but I just think that if we'll have a lot of the possession of the ball. I think they'll give us a lot of the ball. And I just think we need to do what we did the other day in terms of finishing our chances. In both them games against Aston Villa last year, if we finished our chances, we'd have beat them in both games. Honestly, we battered them in the first half at the Emirates. Battered them. We had about 15 shots to their 1. Game at Aston Villa, we had a perfectly good goal chalked out offside. We created up-team chances up there, and we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And this is what we've got to do this year. This is what we can't afford to be going to Aston Villa and not scoring. We can't afford to go to Newcastle and not score. We can't afford to do it like they're the games that kind of cost us at the end last year. I always think make the wrongs right, and I think this is a good first game for us to go into away from home. And I think we're going to get something. Are we going to get 3 points? Not so sure, but I think we'll definitely get something out of the game.
Yeah. Ian, I'll come to you just on the starting 11. Is there any changes you would make at all at this stage, or do you think maybe keep the momentum going from the first game of the season, keep the same 11 going? Obviously, then we have the opportunity to make changes if needed, or is there anyone you would start instead for this fixture, knowing that it is away? They're going to be up for it, of course.
I would be very tempted to keep the same starting 11. I would maybe have a little bit of a concern over Zinchenko, because Matty Cash and Leon Bailey on the wing, they kind of cut us apart. That's where they scored last season, down the left-hand side. But I think Mikel Arteta is going to have the boys fired up for this game at the weekend because of what happened last season. You have to remember as well, and I fully agree with Liam as well, because last season we battered them home and away. We battered them, and they scored after about 5 or 6 minutes at their place, and we battered them for the rest of the game, couldn't score. And a big factor as well, that remembering Mikel Arteta wasn't on the sideline for the away game last season. He'll be there tomorrow, and he'll be having them firing on all cylinders. I'm quietly confident that we're going to do them. I just think Arteta's going to have the whole squad fired up to beat them. But maybe see, if you say Zinchenko, who'd you bring in? Who'd be like, obviously you would say Calafiore, who'd be a bit more defensive, but I don't think he's ready to start the game. Jurriën Timber maybe, but I do think he's going to have the same starting 11. Maybe he'll switch Trossard for Martinelli, but again, I don't think so. I think he'll go same starting 11.
Yeah. Bray, the same to you. Is there any changes that not necessarily you think he might change, but anything you would prefer to see formation wise, or anyone else come in?
No, my thinking was about Zinchenko as well, with Timber coming in. Obviously, depending on how fit he was, obviously thought it was going to be a risk if he had actually started that game against Wolves. I would have preferred to have saved him for this Villa game coming up if he was ready. Obviously, come on. He done well, didn't he? At certain points, he had that one little time where he made the lovely turn and then suddenly tried to take it on another 5-6 touches and then got pickpocketed, didn't he? I think Timber will be that more safer option, certainly at the back, instead of Zinchenko. Certainly in those bigger games, those tighter games away. But again, it just depends on how fit he is, whether or not you could say, yeah, I'm going to start with him. So, yeah, my heart says that he's going to stick with the same lineup and roll with that, and then still make changes as you go on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonesy, just basing off your team that you kind of wanted going into the game last Saturday, do you think there's a chance for maybe Calafiori to start, or do you think it's like the guys have said it's maybe too soon? Maybe if it was at home, another game at home, it could be the opportunity. But the fact that it's away, it's got to be not sticking safe, but keeping with what we've known so far.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with the guys. If anyone was to come out and going at the left back position, I would have Timber. I don't think we can afford to throw Calafiori in straight away at Villa Park away. It'd be probably a safer bet at home. But I do agree with the guys. I think, they can be beaten. Like I say, we were the better team other than not finishing our chances. But the only thing, that's worrying me about Saturday is the occasion. We just got to beat the occasion. It's going to be, like you say, their first home game. They'll probably have the fireworks out, the banners and everything. If we can get past that early goal, then I reckon we can take them. But yeah, for me, I would as well stick in Trossard, just because if we get so many chances on goal, he is probably one of the best finishers at the club. And we saw last season how important his goals were, especially away from home.
Absolutely. Yeah. Liam, any different on that? I know sometimes we've sort of struggled in some of the stadiums that are, obviously Villa have been, the last couple of seasons, been really good at home, haven't they? The fans have been all over it as well. And we've not rattled, but we do sort of tend to be a little bit off our game in that scenario sometimes. So do you think it's like Jonesy said, it sort of kill that as soon as possible? Obviously, stick one in them first couple of minutes.
They got good, they've got a good fan base, Aston Villa, under the lights. So they're folks to be reckoned with. So, like Charlie said, it ain't the easiest of games, but you know what? It's not a game that we should be absolutely fearful of. I would personally start Timber at left back. I Zinchenko had a good game, but I think it's a totally different game away from home. You need a lot of concentration. I like what I see from Timber when he comes on, so that would be an interesting decision. I think it's an interesting one what Jones said about Trossard as well, because I would have started him on Saturday. You got Martinelli's pace. That could be one thing, couldn't it? Away from home, could need that. But then you look at what Trossard gives you. He scored some big goals, like Jones said, away from home last year. Manchester United, Brighton. So he's got a good record. I think it'd be quite interesting. I think he will go Martinelli. I'm not sure where he'll go with the left back role yet. It wouldn't surprise me if he played the same 11 though.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to sort of get your predictions and thoughts. I know it's early days. We've got a few days left, but I'll start with you first, Liam. Your thoughts on the outcome at the end of the game? Any particular goal scorer or anything?
2-1 Arsenal. Havertz and Odegaard.
Ah, nice. That's a strong one. Ian, for you?
I'm laughing because I was going to say the exact same thing. 2-1, and Odegaard and Havertz as well. Genuinely, I was going to say the exact same thing.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right. It's okay. I'd be very happy if it happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mark, for you?
2-0, and I think the goal scorers are going to be Martinelli and Trossard. And I know they play the same position, but if you've seen at the weekend, Trossard is raging that he's on the bench. he is raging. There was pictures of the bench. Call Fury, Timber, everyone's having a laugh as the game's about to start. Trossard is not happy. So, yeah, just watch for his bang when he comes on. So 2-0 for me.
Nice. Josie, I'll come to you next.
1-0, Mikkel Marino with Trossard with the winner.
Nice. Yeah, like that. Bray?
Yeah, it sounds boring. I was going to go 2-1. Saka, I think, is going to carry on. I think he's going to score a penalty, get a penalty, and I think Saliba is going to leap up like a salmon. Bang, corner, done.
Nice. Yeah. Charlie?
I'm going to go 1-0, and I think Havertz is going to score again from an Odegaard assist.
Nice. I'm gonna go 2-0, I think. And like Bray, I can see a Saliba or Gabriel goal being a part of it, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we never know till the day, but it's always nice just to get a little thought. That might change with a couple of us as the week goes on. But yeah, there's one to look out for. It's obviously the 5:30 game as well, isn't it, on Saturday, which I do enjoy those kickoffs, to be fair.
I'll take a Martinez own goal as well, just to put it out there.
Off the back of his head again would be great.
Yeah.
Or roll it in by accident.
I can feel it now. Yeah, might even change it to 3-1. Yeah, I'll cap it off. Yeah, done. 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, we'll let you change it for that reason and only that reason.
Yeah. Best outcome.
Any further thoughts on the Villa game at the weekend that we've missed or anything? Anyone want to say before I hand over to Liam for the transfers?
Yeah, just the one thing that I noticed on the Villa game was their first goal was a carbon copy of the Gabriel goal from last season when Arsenal played West Ham. So the cross came in and Onana left Anthony for dead, and 3 yards out he scored. And it was the exact same as that free kick that Declan Rice put in, and Gabriel done the exact same thing. So I wouldn't read too much into the result. West Ham were really poor. They won the transfer market for what that's worth, but they were still not learning their lesson.
Nice. Yeah, well, as we said, it's early days, isn't it? Everyone's a bit off.
Yeah.
Shock results can happen, and great results can happen. So we can only wait till Saturday night now. But yeah, that pretty much rounds up going into the Villa game. So Liam, I'll hand over to you for the transfers. I know you want to chat a bit about a few.
Yeah, it's always an exciting part of the show, isn't it? Obviously, last 10 days of the transfer window, it seems a little bit underwhelming at present in terms of the activity we made, but I think there is still a lot of business can be done over the next 10 days. Gonna go crack straight into obviously discussing this guy, Mikkel Marino. Obviously, this seems to be going on for a couple of months now in terms of speculation and links. If you believe what you read today, Sociedad went up to 40 million euros at the moment. Just want to get everyone's thoughts in terms of how they see this one proceeding out, and what's their thoughts of him coming to the club, because obviously he's off the back of a brilliant summer with Spain where they won the Euros. He's obviously a player that can be quite versatile in the 6 and 8 role, and I think he's a player that obviously could potentially kind of support Declan Rice in terms of minutes, and considering both have obviously got to Euro finals this year, they probably haven't had as much rest as obviously some other players. So going to go over to Ian first on this one. What's your kind of thoughts on this transfer, and is it something you think that's going to get over the line over the next week?
Yeah, I do think it's going to get done. Like, every time I open Twitter, he's costing us an extra £2 million. The price just keeps going up and up and up. But yeah, I'm very excited by him. Like, he's not like, we all want this big striker or the big attacker and so on, but I think he's going to have a much bigger impact than what a lot of people feel at the moment. Like, I'm very excited by him. He's a very, very good player himself, and as you said, he's versatile. But I'm very excited about what he'll be able to do for other players. Like, when he goes into that number 8 role, the left 8 role, that means it should mean that Havertz will stay where he is up top. and it'll also probably put Declan Rice back into his best position. I think he's going to solve a lot of problems for Arsenal, and I'm very excited to see him come in. And yes, I do believe it'll be done. Real Sociedad, as we can see with the Zubamendi situation, they're just not letting go of their guys very easily. They're just trying to get as much as they can, which is fair enough. We're trying to do the same with Eddie and Ketia, so fair is fair. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in an Arsenal shirt.
And just going to go over to you, Mark, in terms of obviously Mikel Mourinho. Where do you think he'll be best suited in this Arsenal team, and what do you think that he will bring to the club?
Well, I think that he's a natural 8. I prefer a 6 to come in, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I think Declan Rice normally his best position would be an 8. So I believe this deal will get done. I'm frustrated with him, if I'm being honest. What I've heard is that Sociedad owe him a loyalty bonus of €5 million, and they want Arsenal to pay that. And this is what's holding the deal up. And like Ian said as well, every time you put Twitter on, the price seems to go up an extra £2 million. So for me, he's 11 months left on his contract. I don't know if it'd do in Arsenal. I honestly don't know. But for me, it's just like, go and put a bid down and tell them, it's fine. We'll walk away. We'll take him on a free next year. All's good. And leave it at that. But for him to come into Arsenal, I think next season we're going to have 2 6s to be replaced, or 2 midfielders, because Thomas Partey will be gone and J20 will be gone as well. So we have to do something now. I think this is a minimum transfer that we need, but it is needed, and he'll bring good depth in, and that's a great picture as well.
Yeah, not a bad picture, is it? Ain't a bad picture.
It brings back good memories.
No comment. Absolute no comment.
I can't believe you went there, Mark. I can't believe it.
I'm sorry. I had to.
Going over to Jonesy, in terms of kind of the season that we've got ahead, with obviously more Champions League games, obviously Premier League games, obviously players coming off the back of kind of a European run, especially a player like Declan Rice. Do you see this being a good alternative to kind of give Declan Rice a breather in certain games?
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's got the caliber, isn't he? Look what he won over the summer, European Championships. Probably one of the best other than Rodri. Probably underneath him and Zubamendi, he's probably the next best, isn't he? What I like about him is like what Ian said, he can go into that 8 role, which allows Rice to go back into the 6, which I think he's better there. He's played with Odegaard as well. They kind of know each other from their Sociedad days as well. I think Odegaard spoke quite highly of him as well. So he's basically going to be our Rodri, isn't he? And if he can do half the job that Rodri's done for City, that we could get him in, then just get him in. If they want 40, just give him the 40. I don't know why we're pissing about. I do agree. It does get frustrating at times with Arsenal and transfers and the way they just go on. It only seems like us where it just drags and drags and drags. But yeah, no, if we get him in, it'll be definitely class. And like I say, it gives the break to Declan Rice, and also the cover for eventually when Partey gets injured. Sorry. It will happen. Come on.
Yeah, probably. Going into our next, well, I wouldn't say next transfer, but lots of speculation on a player potentially going out is obviously Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, for me, I think Aaron needs to go elsewhere. At his age, he can't be afforded to be sitting on a bench. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, totally gutted personally because I do like lad, but if I'm being frankly honest, I just think David Raya's probably. I think his age and experience has kind of really supported us over the last season, and as you see yesterday, I think we now got the most assured David Raya, where I think last season it was a bit tricky for him when he first come in. Going over to you, Bray, with Aaron Ramsdale, how do you see this one kind of playing out, mate, in terms of the last 10 days? Because at the moment, it looks like the best possible deal we can potentially get is a loan.
Yeah, it's probably going to be one that's going to go on to probably the last hour. I think Yeah, you'd think that there'd be a few teams that would be crying out for a goalkeeper with his qualities. Obviously, Wolves coming in with that bid without the obligation to buy.
Yeah,
it doesn't suit us. As I say, we obviously want the cash, or certainly that obligation to kind of take him. And obviously that's holding up a replacement signing as well, which I believe has been done or agreed. It's a tough one. It's bittersweet, isn't it? It's another one, just like Smith Rowe with Ramsdale going, but it's got to be done, isn't it? It needs game time. But yeah, I think Ajax were turned down as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tough one for his representatives to get the best deal as well, to try and give him that chance. Certainly going into these new England squads with the new manager or the caretaker manager bringing him in. Who knows? But he needs to start playing. He needs to start playing quick.
And obviously with that, so we're linked now with obviously Espanyol's Juan Garcia to come in for us. I'll be honest, I haven't really seen too much of him. But I think obviously potentially it's a shrewd signing, isn't it? In terms of obviously Mikel Arteta will know exactly what he's about. He's at a decent age. I know there was obviously links with Szczesny returning, but for me, obviously, I think we need to be going for a player, obviously, who's much like the way Manchester City potentially gone with Ortega, someone who's got the potential to challenge the first team goalkeeper at some point.
Yeah, I think you're looking at those personality kind of players, and look, there's a reason why he left us as well. He had an absolute meltdown, didn't he? Southampton away, weren't it? It was smoking in the toilets and caught drinking some spirits on the pitch after a goal, I think it was. But yeah, he had a breakdown and and it all kind of went a little bit south, didn't it, with him? But at his peak, he was really good. But as I say, a lot of water's gone under the bridge, and it's one of those where you just suddenly just say, well, move on, someone else. And as I say, a 23-year-old. I think it's a decent one. Yeah, you've got to look at it again. At the end of the day, you need to have someone that's going to want to be, not so much want to be a number two, but say, look, Szczesny isn't probably going to come in and say, I'm happy being number two. But in the end of the day, I still wouldn't want a young goalkeeper thinking, I'm just happy with that. I'm just going to be a number two. I'm not going to try and play. There's got to be a little bit of heart in there and a little bit of fight. So make it competition, because we don't want another one like a Hein or whatever like that as say like a number two. We still need to have a bit more about him than what he has or what we potentially have had last season. I think that was it. If obviously Ramsdale had gone, then that quality. Can you imagine that though? Can you imagine Raya getting injured and we obviously just then we sold Ramsdale and then all we had was Hein. At this point, you're suddenly thinking, well, don't know.
It's interesting as well, isn't it? Because obviously Dan Bentley and I was on the assumption that we was looking to get a third choice goalkeeper in as well. Is that something we can? Is that something that potentially is still going to happen? That we will get two goalkeepers in?
Well, I think we signed the youngster, didn't we? Wasn't that from Ajax as well?
Yeah, it's great from Ajax.
Yeah, so I think he's the one that's going to be the third choice. Obviously, Owonkwo obviously left in the summer, didn't he? They didn't renew his contract. The youngster. It was the other. Yeah, the Youth Cup final keeper got released as well.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. I know my boys had a picture with him actually. Funny enough, so that was it at the semi-final at the Emirates. But I think that's the third choice, and I think this one coming in would be that kind of Ramsdale replacement. And as I say, he's young, and there's obviously something about him. which Arteta likes. So yeah, just gotta make the domino effect happen now, and this is what it is with across the board, isn't it? The whole domino system. One move takes on another two or three with it. So yeah, we shall wait and see, I suppose.
Yeah, it seems like Carl. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say real quickly, you can't take the second goalkeeper too lightly. You touched on it, Liam, like you mentioned Ortega. It makes me sick to my stomach to even say this and bring it up on an Arsenal show like this, but Ortega basically won Man City the league last season with that display at the toilet bowl. So you have to have a high quality second choice, even if he's not going to play very often. You need to have a high quality second choice goalkeeper. It's a really important thing for us to get sorted if Ramsdale leaves.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah, I think
it's unbelievable.
I think that Ian's made a really valid point there. When people are going on about the money that Arsenal are asking for Ramsdale, it's such a big cost to Arsenal if we lose him. So therefore, the maximum money, or he does not go, and that's where I'm at.
Could there be a potential he doesn't go?
Yeah, I think there is.
100%. 100%. We're going for the league title in Champions League. Why do we need to sell a goalkeeper of this caliber? Ramsdale wants to go. I understand.
There's two options, isn't there? It's one to suit us as a club, and then obviously there's Ramsdale's situation, and that's it. At the end of the day, what does Ramsdale want to do? But again, if no one's stumping up the money, he's still got what's he got? Is it 2 years left, or is it still
3? I think he's got 3. I think he's got 3 left. At the end of the day, he's contracted to Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. You're contracted. Contract said we're paying you good money. You're staying unless we get a suitable replacement. I'm quite hot on this. I don't want to see him go. I was that guy that argued last season when Arteta had done that with Ray and Ramsdale. I protected Ramsdale. I don't want to see him go at all. I mean, you're going for a Premier League title, as Paul and Ian said. You could bring in, Man City could bring in another goalkeeper. They lose Emerson, who's like arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world, if not the best. And they bring in number 2, and he gets them over the line. What are we going to do? So for me, the Ramsdale stays unless we get a suitable replacement of 30 to 40 million. It's probably a bad attitude, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like we don't have to get rid of Adam Ramsdale if it doesn't suit us whatsoever. It is. We do. Firstly, we need to get the right replacement in, like we've agreed, but also we need to get the right cost in, don't we? Like, and in terms of a loan deal, what's that loan deal look like? Do you know what I mean? How is there an obligation to buy, or is there not? I think it's quite an interesting one, and I do agree. I think it is going to run to the very last day, the Aaron Ramsdale deal, so it'll be definitely one to watch out for. The next one I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to go to Charlie on this one. Eddie Nketiah.
Oh,
yeah. I thought I'd knock on your door with this one, Charlie, because I know you.
Yeah, I knew you would as well.
What's going on with Eddie, mate? Like the summer drama just continues, doesn't it? First, he obviously looked like he was all lined up for Marseille. Bids rejected, they come back in. Bids rejected again, and they go elsewhere. Nottingham Forest come in, but then I read today that obviously he wants 120k. Quite a lot of money for a club for not like even for Nottingham Forest. To, in my opinion, is still an unproven striker.
Yeah, 100%. Like that is a lot of money a week, but then that's what he's on at Arsenal to effectively be a third choice striker. So he's well within his right, I guess, to ask for that wage if he gets his move. I mean, the bit for me that I am glad about is Arsenal sticking to their guns with their price, because in the past we've sold players on the cheap, and then you have this domino effect where people can then try and bid for our players and undercut us, and then they think Arsenal will sell. But then you've then got the same people moaning that it's taking so long to sell our players because they want to sell them on the cheap. So it's like it's like a vicious cycle. But I think, so considering some of the players that have gone for some of the money, I think 30 million is quite reasonable, to be fair. but I guess we'll wait and see. I think the Nottingham Forest deal might be the one, because I know they had a bid rejected for that Jimenez, but I don't think Jimenez will leave. Is it finals that he plays? I don't think he'll leave. So I think Eddie could go to Forest, but I think this could drag as well. I reckon this would be like an end of the window deal.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it is definitely another one that's going to drag into the last week. I do think that he will eventually go. It's an interesting one. Where does that leave us? Do you know what I mean? Because really, ideally, we need this Eddie deal to go through by the weekend, or to be in the process of going through by the weekend, don't we? Like, I know it could potentially be a domino effect, and there could be, and I'm sure there would be, kind of solutions in the field that potentially what Edu's looking at. I'm going to go to you with this one, G. Are we going to replace Eddie Nketiah? Because we've only got 10 days remaining. In my eyes, we need to replace him with someone. Whether it is that striker, we can't get that striker, then we potentially look elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose him, not that in the most undisrespectful way, it's not really going to change us, is it? But then we've also lost a striker and someone to come off the bench and try and do something. I think we could never really rely on him, or no one really got excited if we needed something and he was coming on. So you have to. I don't think we could go for someone that's like a third choice. You have to sort of make a signing that's going to help develop the team, because, like we said, of course we scored loads of goals last year, but we didn't have an out and out striker, really, did we? And that's the biggest difference. So I think that we absolutely do have to get someone in, but who at this point I do not know. It's not like it's been names thrown around all summer, is it? And is it this person, this person? We've heard little bits of a couple of names here and there, but nothing has actually taken place. And as we say, there's just under 2 weeks left, isn't there? So you think, where is it going to come from and at what stage? Because the season's kicked in now. Is it someone like, I know we were talking about Oschenheim or whatever the hell he's called. He sounds that more of it's going to Chelsea. So we're not even in that conversation at the moment as well. And the guy from Sporting, I know we've all talked about how much he would improve us, but for me, it's like, when is it going to kick in now? You don't really want to sign someone the last couple of days of the window if they're going to be that important for you, I don't think. But in Eddie's way, I think Forest is probably a good deal for him, to be fair, isn't it? And as Charlie said, 30 million at the end of the day, when the amounts that we've sold people for before have been so low. Like, at this point, I think we'll all just shake hands and move away from him with it and wish him all the best. But yeah, it's something's got to give, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think us going into the back end of the window, expecting to buy that top class striker, something doesn't sit with me in terms of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not sure that I see it happening, if I'm being totally honest. I do see us getting someone, but I just think that it's going to be typical Arsenal, that we're going to go for someone that pretty much has been minimal talk about. And then it becomes one of them, don't it? That just go like, bang, it happens. And you're like, where the hell did that one come from?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not totally sure either if it's going to be a striker. I wonder if we're going to look for potentially a winger. I don't know. Going to go with Chewy in on this one because obviously, yet again, Saka's had another full season. He's played another whole Euros. He started the start of the season with barely any minutes from coming back. Martinelli went back out there on Saturday when Saka went off. Martinelli started their last game of the season when Saka was injured. Is he the secondary player to Saka at right wing for this season? Shouldn't really be, should he, if we're looking to play him on the left wing? So is that potentially a position that we're going to look at in the last 10 days?
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree with that. I don't think we're going to sign a striker. I think the plan has always been that we sell Eddie maybe even Reece Nelson as well, and buy somebody who can cover both wings. Like we're all speaking about getting the top class striker. We scored 91 goals last season. We were the second highest scorers in the league. Like we don't necessarily need, this out and out striker. Don't get me wrong, if one came in, great. But I think we're set with Havertz up top. I think we're trying to be a bit more dynamic across the front three. I think we're going to go for somebody who, like a name that has been mentioned. I don't know an awful lot about him, but somebody like Adingra from Brighton who can play left and right wing. He's young, he's very talented, and again, like Marino, he could solve an awful lot of problems, selection problems. I wouldn't. I'm not too fussed about getting this big striker, but I would love, and I pray and I hope that we do get a wide player who can come in and take vital minutes throughout the season. I just think it's really, really important that we do. I don't think we can go into another season, a full season with Eddie. All due respect, Eddie, I love Eddie, but if we have ambitions to be going to the next level, to winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, we have to move away from the likes of him, like we did with Smith Rowe and so on. So yeah, that's my. I think a winger is going to come in rather than a striker.
Carl, I'm going to do a bit of round robin on that question, so it gives you an all opportunity. Going to go to you, Mark. What do you think potentially will come in terms of the last 10 days?
I think we'll get two signings, and I totally disagree with the winger. If I'm being honest, and we're being honest as Arsenal fans, Jesus is not a bagsman, he's not a striker, he cannot score goals, and let's be realistic on it. For me, his best positions out on the right wing, he's Saka's backup, and that's where we are as the Arsenal Football Club. For me, I want Mourinho to come in. It looks like it's going to happen, and I would like a striker. If that striker's plan A or plan B for Havertz, or Havertz is plan A and he's plan B, I don't care. Either way, if he benches Havertz, so be it. Arsenal Football Club are on the way to greatness. We're on the brink of something very special. I've went 21 years of my life without this football club winning major trophies. We're at the end of the project right here. Eddie and the board have got 10 days left to get this right. So the winger for me is not important. I think there's reasons for Martinelli not doing so well last year. We could go into that. We're fixing the left-hand side. That will fix Martinelli. We've got Trossard there, totally great guy. Jesus, brilliant presser. However, he cannot score goals. He has to go out to the right wing for me. And we bring in a striker. I want Isak. I don't think that's possible. I don't know why it's not possible, even if it costs Arsenal 120 million. We sell Eddie for, say, 30, just over 30 mil and ESR. Arsenal have not even touched the budget of what we took in last season of 590 million. They've not touched it. So the Crockett's not put any money in whatsoever. We're not against PSR anymore. I heard we're against PSR at the end of June, where we were touching it for 7 million. We're not at that stage now. We Chelsea are signing players because I don't know if you guys know, but if you sell even one academy player, it goes straight on your books. But if you sign a player, you can put it over a 5-year contract. So even if you sell £100 million player, it's 20 million per year. So even ESR has covered us for PSR without even selling Eddie. So for me, there's no excuse for Arsenal. We are at the end of this project, and it has to bang. So 10 days and a lot of pressure on for me. So I don't want a winger. I want a striker.
Cool. I'm going to go to you, Jonesy. What do you expect in the last 10 days?
I reckon we'll get the Mikel Merino deal over the line, that's for sure. I'm in the same camp as Ian. I don't think, 91 goals last season, I don't think we need that striker. I think it's Jesus is the plan A. Havertz is the plan A. Jesus is the plan B. We need someone desperately for Saka. We saw it at the back end of the season. I don't know if it's too late in the day to get a marquee signing in a winner. So maybe someone like Kingsley Coman on loan. I know Bayern are looking to offload him. Could be potentially a good signing for us. But yeah, for me, it's the Marino and a winger for Saka's cover.
Thank you. I'm going to go to you, Bray. What do you think will happen in the last 10 days, or what would you like to see?
Frustration. I think that's just a normal kind of Arsenal kind of like transfer window. So I think it is going to be a frustrating time. But I think just like Jonesy, I think there's going to be a wide player or someone that can play across all the positions and kind of just come in and be that versatile player. We've got Jesus and we've got Havertz in those kind of areas. You've got Trossard potentially as well. They can all play all over. So I think that's what we're looking for. Give Saka a little kind of help and hopefully get some of those players still needing to get out the door. I'm talking Nelson. And I think that's what it had. I reckon our stance might have been a little bit different had we have shifted Nelson and Ketia early doors. Someone come in and chuck money straight at us. Even Ramsdale. I think this window would have been very, very different. But it's what we're up against now, and it's very complicated. I think at the end of the day, I think when you look at the wages and the levels of what those players are on, if you're still talking about Nelson being on 120 or 110 thousand pounds a week as well, there's some big money still on the books. So that's why I say it's frustrating. I think that's pretty frustrating for those at the club and even more for us because we want to see those kind of signings coming in. But at the minute, it's not happening.
No. So some good food for thought there. Going over to you, G. What do you want to see coming? I know, like obviously everyone's saying about the striker, but is there another area that you think could be a potential growth that could help us?
It's got to be on the wingers for me. I think we're okay for the left purely because you've got a couple of options there, haven't you? Jesus sometimes will come on there. Obviously, you've got Trossard and Martinelli, but it's all on Saka, isn't it? And we don't want to get to the same position going into the last couple of months of the season. And he's played not every single minute, but a lot of minutes in every single game. And as he does get kicked, all sorts. You don't want to get to that point where you think, oh, we can't really afford to take him off because he is in such good form and he can do something for us. Like some others have said, like we can work around the striker sort of situation. And as I said earlier, there's not really any big names we're heavily linked to at this stage either. So the likelihood they're just going to pull one out the bag and it's going to change everything that we already have going for us at the moment is bizarre. But for me, it's got to be the right wing sort of area as a priority. I think we're okay for the rest. If you bring in Moreno, hopefully that gets done sort of by the end of this week, that would be ideal, wouldn't it? And then you can sort of filter in. Then you're sort of covered, aren't you? Maybe in January you get an extra bit here and there as backup. But for me, I think it's the right wing position for sure.
And yourself, Charlie?
Yeah, I completely agree with G, to be fair. The right wing position. I mean, the right wing position's been a problem for years, though, hasn't it? Because even when Saka first broke through, he was playing a lot of minutes. And even then, when he shifted to left back, we didn't really have anyone we could put there other than Pepe, who was inconsistent. Originally, at the start of the window, I just wanted a versatile attacker. So someone that was quality, that was going to score a lot of goals. Regardless of where they played in the front three, they were going to score a lot of goals. That's what I wanted. Obviously, I wasn't against signing Gyökeres. He would have been the striker that I wanted if we had gone for a striker. But I think the right wing position is the biggest problem position that we have. Basically, everyone else has said it. Saka played every minute of every game. And he clearly doesn't trust the likes of Fabio Vieira to come on and play in that position when necessary. But the problem is, I'm looking at right wingers in the market, and Jonesy said Kingsley Coman, and I agree with that. But other than Leroy Sané, who's going to want a massive wage, I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head that comes in and bags a lot of goals. Because Nico Williams wants Barcelona, so he ain't going anywhere. So that literally leaves me with Leroy Sané, or maybe someone that's a bit of an unknown. But yeah, right wing all day long.
I think for myself, I think it's an interesting one. I kind of agree with a lot of you. Like, I agree with Mark that I think long term, like the striker is the position that I think Havertz is more that you push him up on top of the striker as such, and I think that's where you'll get the best out of Havertz when he's off. He'll be off someone as well. But what I will say is, when Havertz come off the pitch on Saturday, you could tell in just 5 minutes how much we lost in terms of the aerial threat with Havertz not being on the pitch. And that concerns me. If Havertz gets injured again, and Gabriel Jesus is a good player, but for me, he's not that man to be able to play that for 38 games a season, or to take you to a championship. So that is my first concern. Can Gabriel Jesus play on the right? I think he can play on the right, but my concern yet again is, can he do it over a duration of 15, 20 games? Not sure. So it leaves us in a bit of a delicate situation, really. Do you know what I mean? Because if Havertz gets injured for whatever cause, then I think we dip quite a bit in terms of the calibre. I think if Saka gets injured, we kind of got a bit of a problem because no one else has potentially played out there for a duration game. Then you look at the left-hand side and you look at the players and you think, do you know what? They're actually pretty, like, they're good players. But for me, for us to be the team we want to be longer term, if we get a level raiser, I think it transforms the whole team out on the left because we know Saka's that man on the right. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm not sure, I'm going to be totally honest here. Martinelli, even Saturday, I forgot he was on the pitch second half. I actually forgot he was on the pitch. He had the ball in the last few minutes. He ran diagonally, and I was like, shit, I forgot he was still on the pitch. He's got to do something. He's got to be able to.
Yeah, well, could I throw a curveball at you? So far, if we bring Mourinho in, and we've also brought in Calafiori, why are we fixing the left hand side?
We're not. What I'm saying is we're not. I think longer term we will. I think longer term we will. I think longer term.
We've already done it. We're already doing it. We're already doing it, bro.
No, I mean the actual left wing issue. I don't think we'll bring a left winger in at this point of the window.
Yeah, no. What I'm meaning by that is obviously last season Arsenal were more direct down the right because we had Ben White. You've got obviously Martin Odegaard there, and you've got Saka. Yeah. So we were very direct, always down the right. Pre-season, you watch games. We started moving more to the left-hand side. We're addressing the left-hand side. There's a reason for that. Martinelli had a bad season because Xhaka left the football club. We brought a new player in Declan Rice, who played 8 and 6, so it wasn't even fixed. We didn't have a steady left-back last season. So if you go back, not last season, but the season before, Martinelli bagged. And last season,
no, I totally agree.
So last season he didn't bag. Why? Because these aspects were missing from the football club. So this season we brought in Calafiori, we're bringing in Mourinho. We're addressing the left-hand side.
We are addressing the left-hand side. I still think
Martinelli are back again, bro.
My personal opinion, what I've seen. Martinelli needs to have a big season. Martinelli has to have a big season this season. He has to have a big season. And it's not me. Yeah, it's not me. Mikel Arteta's ruthless. Mikel Arteta has proven already how ruthless he is. Look what he's done to him. Mikel Arteta at the right time will make the right decision. Now, I personally hope Martinelli goes out there this year, right? Gets the left-hand side and bangs in 20, 25 goals. I'd absolutely love that because you know what? It would save us probably a good 75 to 100 million on a player. And I don't think, when I look at that left-hand side at the moment, I don't think that's where we've got to concentrate on right this moment of time. But I think potentially next year, if these guys don't do it this year consistently for Mikel Arteta, I think he will look at that left winger as the final ingredient on that left-hand side. To be honest, the ball's in Martinelli's court. Mikel Arteta's picked him first game of the season. He's picked him for a reason. I think that was a tight call to pick him over Trossard. after the way
Yeah, I
Trossard
do.
finished back end last season. I think it was a very, very, very tight and strong call. I don't see the strike. I don't know what it is. I just can't see us bringing in the striker in the last 8 days. I hope I'm wrong, because I think that's what's going to, at the moment, push us to the next level. But I just think that if we're going to look at anything, I think we'll look at the right hand side. But there is players who can play out there. Now, Martinelli played out there on when he come off Saka. But if Martinelli's going to play on the left hand side for us, Martinelli shouldn't be that option to play on the right hand side whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
No.
He shouldn't be moving. He shouldn't really be moving out of position, should he?
But Liam, going back to Martinelli, like this is a really. I honestly want to protect this guy like there's no tomorrow. His best game last season was the last game of the season. Saka was injured and he was put out on the right hand side, where he has familiar played in training games, other games alongside Ben White, Odegaard, and like he's seen this. He's seen this pod that's going on. So I don't believe it's Martinelli's fault. And again, I don't think that. This is why I believe, just me personally, it's just an opinion. I think we do not need, unless we're bringing Kudus in, and we get Kudus, I'm going to put my hands up and say, yeah, we've got a marquee signing. But if we don't get Kudus, then I don't see why we need to fix the wings. We've got Jesus. Jesus played on the right-hand side for Man City.
How many times he played on it? How many times he played? How many times has
he played all the time for Man City?
No. Listen, let me speak. How many times has Arteta trusted to play on the right-hand side? Like, I think Saka should have been rested in certain games. I think that more. I think sometimes, and I get the reason why he can't rest Saka, but there's certain home games where I sit there and think, do you know what? You could have rested Saka. You could have rested Saka. Like going away to Lons was the biggest one for me, mate. The geezer was so injured. Do you know what I mean? He was so injured. It was unbelievable. I was at the North London derby. We end up playing Saka at right back for the last 10 minutes, and the geezer was literally injured. Do you know what I mean? The games that Saka hasn't played, do you know what? We won the game. We beat Manchester City with Jesus out on the right wing. Yeah. We beat Manchester City at home with Jesus on the right wing. We beat Everton last game of the season. Saka, for me, is everything to this team. So, they're like, don't get me wrong. When Saka's fit and Saka's fresh, he plays every game. But there's going to be games this season, especially with him coming back from like the European tournaments, the amount of games in the Champions League and all that. We need to manage this guy right now. For me, if we're going to play Martinelli, if we're going to say, do you know what, Martinelli's going to play the whole season, which I'm not against, it needs to be on the left hand side. It needs to be on the. Yeah, he can float out there like for the last 5 minutes or something. I agree. I think Jesus could be the secondary option. But I do see us could potentially, if we can't get a striker, I do see us potentially, if there is one position, I do think that he could still go for a right winger. I don't know what's out there, mate. I look at it and I think it's a pretty dead end market at the moment. Like, it's not like your usual market where, like I think Charlie said, you could sit there and go, do you know what? I want this player. I want that player. I want that player. We're at the stage now where whoever comes in for us has to be the level raiser. Has to be the next player who's going to get in the team and not just get in the team, but take us to the next level.
That's where I'm at. And we've got a world-class player on the right-hand side. So why we try to bring someone in on that right-hand side to improve the team when this guy's going to be a bench player? He's not going to take Saka's position.
That's the problem. That's the truth.
All he's going to do is give Saka a break. So are we looking to win the Premier League and our only objective is to give Saka a break? For me, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Well, giving Saka a break could be worth 2 or 3 points.
Absolutely.
You need to give players like Saka a break. It's imperative. That's why I'm so happy that Marino's coming in. He'll take minutes out of some very important players' legs as well. Last season we ran Saka into the ground. We ran Declan Rice into the ground. We ran some of the defenders into the ground. And having these players, yeah, they may not play, every minute that God gives them, but that's what a squad is for. You look at Man City when they've won the league. Look at all the wingers that they had. like they had Mahrez, they had Grealish, they Foden, they had what's the other guy? Was it
Bernardo
Silva?
Silva played out there.
Yeah, like I mean, that's what a squad is for. It's not just about your starting 11. It's about your finishing players as well.
I get that. There was a stat came out when you remember the Aston Villa game that was sandwiched in between the two Bayern Munich games. Of course we do. In that game, at that point, there was 8 Arsenal players that had played over 40 games, and there was 0 Man City players that had played over 30.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
but that's
So
the
when
exact
you-
point
that's,
about
that's the issue, isn't it?
It is massively.
That's
it
the
is.
issue, and that's where that's the next stage, because you start looking at your bench. Let's not look at it now, yeah, right? So we'll probably discuss it in 2 weeks' time. But when you start looking last year, Eddie and Nketiah, I'm not being disrespectful to these players, by the way, whatsoever. But
No, of course,
Eddie
of
and
course.
Nketiah, we got to the end of the season where he just didn't come on. Do you know what I mean? Reece Nelson was exactly the same. We the next stage now is for us to get that bench right, and it will mean that Gabriel Jesus sits on that bench. Do you know what I mean? But do you know what? I've always said personally, for me, Gabriel Jesus is a third choice striker up front, and then utilise him on the flanks. Well, I totally agree. I totally agree that we can utilise him on the flank. If it was me right now, and you said to me right now, what do you want? I want a striker. That is what I want. I want a number 9 striker, and I think if you played Havertz right on top of him in games, Havertz can play so many different kind of games. Be games where he just comes off the bench, and you totally bully teams. That is where I think we need to go personally. I think I agree with you when you say I think we have got enough cover on the wings, but can I see us going out and buying a striker? That's my problem in the last 10 days.
Yeah, that is the issue. See, if one of our most important players, in my eyes, is Martin Odegaard. What happens if he goes down? Don't tell me that you're expecting
That's the other.
Don't tell me that Fabio Vieira is the guy, because for me, get this guy out of Arsenal Football Club, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Over 2 years, he has shown nothing. So, who do we have to replace Odegaard?
The only player I can see going back into that role is Kai Havertz. If I'm being totally honest, yeah.
100%, Liam. So if you bring a striker, then at least you've got Havertz there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. For me, we need to get a number 9 in. Hopefully, do you know what? I'll be absolutely delighted. I'm sure we all would be. We got a number 9 in. I just think it offers us so much. Arteta 100% wants it, but I just think that Arteta is like no one is. When we get that player, it's got to be the right player. Just don't know who the right player is at the moment. I don't have any of you guys.
That's the thing. The dominoes have not started falling yet, have they?
No. But I'm sure it's a debate that we could go right into the night with, to be fair.
Of course.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. Obviously, been a really good show in terms of obviously reviewing the Wolves win, looking ahead to Aston Villa. I'm looking at the Washington Spirit, and obviously remember it when sorry, G, when's the game at 9 o'clock? Is it tomorrow?
Sunday.
Is it next Sunday? Is it?
Yeah, this Sunday coming. I think it's 9 o'clock our time. So yeah, bit of a later one, but against Chelsea in it, so worth the watch. See where we're at.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, and we'll obviously come back next Tuesday, and we'll kind of review that and review the Aston Villa game. So just going to do the round robins. Obviously, thank you very much, Ian, for jumping on at late notice tonight, mate. Always good to have you on.
You're very welcome. Thanks very much for having me. And I jumped in for Bez, missing you, dude. And yeah, no problem. Thanks very much for having me.
And loving that shirt, mate. I'm loving that shirt.
I know. I'm in love with it as well. I just love it so much.
It's so slick. Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor, for coming on tonight, mate. Good debate there.
Thanks for having me on, and apologies for bringing up touchy subjects. But
no, we weren't sure whether to bring it up tonight or not. But hey ho, it came up, so it was there to be discussed. Obviously, thank you, Jonesy, for coming on, mate, tonight.
Yep, no problem, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, and obviously, we'll see you
tomorrow night. We are wrestling.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, you got your wrestling show tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Bray, mate, for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having us on. Good to speak to you.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much, G, for co-hosting. Oh, she's gone. She's finished early, mate. She's gone, mate. She's finished early. So it leaves me to say thanks very much to Charlie. And mate, it was brilliant to finally meet you, mate.
Oh yeah, mate, it was great to finally meet everyone. I was absolutely buzzing. Yeah, thank you for having me on, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolute pleasure. And lastly, I will say thank you very much again, G. You disappeared, but you're back again.
It lasted all the time, and I thought it's gone at this point. Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you. Obviously, great to catch up on the weekend, and yeah, great to be back on the shows again.
Yeah, Def, absolutely right. And obviously, night to Mr. Robbie himself. Have a good one, mate. Yeah, and that just leaves me to obviously thank everyone for coming into the stream tonight. Obviously, your chat, as always, is vital to obviously what we're trying to produce. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for our spanking guests. And yeah, we move on to Saturday. 3 points to the Arsenal, Aston Villa, hopefully. Good night.